Yerp, it's Perp back with another video and just got done watching season 2 of Lock and Key. Man, it's been 2 years since the first season. I covered each episode for the first season. Y'all can go check that out. Go support that. Normally I would definitely check out each episode and review each episode, but things in life, I've just been really busy. That's why I kind of been changing up certain things. But the content is still coming. That's never going to change. So how am I going to break this down? I'm going to go through the characters and just like different aspects of this show, my dislikes and my likes, because there's definitely some negatives and there's some answers that need there's some questions that need to be answered. That's all I'll say. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at perpminer420. All that being said, let's get right into it. So we're back at Keyhouse with the Locks. You know, you got Kenzie, Bode, and Tyler. Things, it's jumped a year. You know, we're a year away from season 1. They think that they got rid of Dodge. They're out here just using the keys willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? Being really reckless. That's one thing about, the Locks. They're very cocky and at times very arrogant on just how they use the keys. I still don't think that Kenzie should have been telling everybody and their mom about these keys. I'll get into that with my negatives. So let's start off with the main 3 Locks and kind of get into the other Locks as well, like Duncan, because he has a much bigger role in this season. They did your girl Nina pretty dirty in this, but Bode came clutch at the end somewhat, so I'm curious to see how that's going to play into effect with everything leading into season 3. Also, we got some new characters, like this one guy named Josh. I'm drawing a blank on his name now. He's like a historian. He works at the school. Really, I thought that they were going to set him up to be like the next big bad, but man, I am really looking forward to who they got coming next for season 3, who's going to be the new big bad. We also get more explanation of just the origin of these keys, who made the keys, and we actually kind of get like a trip to the past with the Locke's ancestors, and just how the redcoats and all that are involved with all this, and the door. A lot of things going on in this season. So starting off with Kenzie, my least favorite Locke out of all the Locks. Kenzie, she's dealing with dating Gabe, but also having feelings for Scott still. Not knowing that Gabe is Dodge, which, there were so many clues and just things that you could have put two together and just be like, yeah, that's Dodge. It was frustrating watching Kenzie's character throughout this season, but she's definitely going to have a bigger role going forward. She was definitely the main focus out of all the Locks in this, because of her connection to Gabe and why she likes Scott and all that. And I also like in the beginning of this that she used the keys to kind of make a short film. The uses of the new keys are really dope. There are a few new keys. We'll get into that as well. But my whole thing with Kenzie's character is just like, I'm not sold on her character. She's just really wishy-washy. She got her fear back, but still is kind of slow in certain aspects. It was just a really frustrating watch. Tyler, now, on the other hand, I actually liked his arc in this whole entire season. He also is in love with Jackie, and his whole thing is like her 18th birthday is coming up, and they know from their mom that as an adult, you start to forget about magic and stuff. And he goes on this quest to kind of try to find an answer to that. And they do find an answer to that. There's this memory key. And that's how Duncan gets kind of tied to all this. And man, shout outs to Duncan, because like, I'm glad that they kind of gave him a bigger role, that he was the one that kind of made that memory key. And, you know, it was really dope. It was really dope. But with Kenzie, I don't know, man. It's not hitting with me. There's a lot of holes in her character. Even, you know, when she took out her fear, why the hell is she saying that she's afraid in episode 1 of this season? I think it was like episode 1 or 2. It was really inconsistent with me. It was really that I would say that was a big negative for me on this season. It's just Kenzie's whole arc. Tyler was cool, like I said. Like his is very simple and basic. You know, his whole coming of age, kind of growing up. Now he's going into college, kind of taking a back seat. I don't know if we're gonna see him in season 3 because he's off to college. Things that happen between him and Jackie, where Jackie gets actually turned into a demon and isn't able to save her. And that was really sad, man. That was a really sad moment. Now let's get into my favorite Locke, that is Bode. Bode, he can kind of get away with some mistakes because he's still a kid. I like that he meets a new character named Jamie. That Jamie's father is Josh, the historian. But anyways, Bode is really like kind of the voice of reason sometimes throughout this series. He makes mistakes, but like I said, he's a kid. He's going to make those mistakes. But he's the only one that kind of really thinks about certain things, like where you had this scene where the anywhere key pops up randomly. Nobody just thinks like, hey, that might be Dodge. Dodge might be behind this. No, we got rid of Dodge, but you know, they were so caught up with like trying to get Duncan's memory back and stuff like that. I guess they got distracted from the whole thing. But I like where they take Bode's character. He's starting to kind of mature more. He's starting to not be such a kid. You know, he's growing up pretty fast. I'm curious to see where they're going to take his character in season 3. Now let's get to Dodge. Dodge is one of my favorite villains of Locke and Key. You know, she's very smart. She's able to manipulate all the Locks and all these different characters just to kind of get what she wants. She also has a little helper named Eden. You know, Eden is also an interesting character that I didn't expect to kind of see her character getting fleshed out. She's kind of like Dodge's lackey. And Dodge's biggest mistake is not killing Eden. And I like what happens with Eden's character at the end of this season. It was like, damn, the red coat guy did what what's his face failed to do. Dodge. But Dodge, I like that she's really calculated. She thinks things through. She doesn't just jump the gun. She's not that reckless. We find out her whole plan was to kind of turn as many people into demons. Well, actually, first, she wanted to make her own key for some odd reason. And that reason being is then now she can kind of turn people into demons and stuff like that. And that was pretty interesting. I feel like the issue with Locke and Key as a whole, there's times where it feels rushed. There's definitely times that it feels rushed and they don't really take their time with certain things. That whole aspect, people just turning and just how quickly they were able to defeat them, I thought was kind of like, meh. Although, like I said, I still enjoyed a lot of aspects of this season, like the history of the keys and all that stuff, introducing new villains, kind of planting the seeds for that, and certain growth for certain characters. They're definitely going to be at a different kind of mindset, and just the whole growing up, forgetting magic aspect to this season, really kind of diving more into that. Like I said, Nina, let me get into some other things. Nina got done dirty because this whole time they had the memory key, and they could have easily made her memories come back. But I feel like when she gets her memories back, it's going to be really traumatic. Maybe. Who knows? It's dope to kind of see what's inside her head and what it looks like. It's kind of like this antique store. That was really dope. That's the one thing that's really, really fascinating about this show, is the use of these keys and how all these characters use them. The small world, I think it's the small world key. That's like my new favorite key. I really like that key. And how they kind of use that to kind of trap certain characters. I'm curious to see how they're going to use that key going forward. How many other new keys that they're going to forge. Because that's what I'll say. I like the first season because of that. Like the exploration of like these keys, like figuring out what key does what. They don't really do that much in here. And there's some things that like were kind of random. Like Kenzie getting wings out of nowhere. I must have missed something there. Ellie is able to come back without the door being opened. They really need to explain that, because I feel like that's going to be a huge plot hole. Overall, I enjoyed this season. You know, it has its problems, just like the first one. But the world and the setting and the villains really kind of keep me glued to the show and keeps me interested. I think a lot of people will like this season, and I think a lot of people will still have some issues with this season. I don't think it's a perfect season. Going into season 3, I'm expecting the stakes to be even higher, because that's the thing. Characters will die off. But like I said, with Ellie's case, that's a huge, huge plot hole, in my opinion. They have to really explain, like, how is she able to come back with the door closed? Because Eden was trying to get the Omega key so she can open up the door. A lot of moving pieces. We got the Alpha key as well, which is interesting. All these introductions of these new keys that we haven't seen before, really dope. Looking forward to seeing more keys, more original ideas coming out of this kind of world. There's a lot of places that they could take it. I just hope this time around they kind of really tighten up on the writing, tighten up on these characters. Yeah, that's all I got really to say about this season. I don't got a ranking or anything like that. I don't really do that. Like I said, I think this was a really solid season for what it was. Has its issues, but it is what it is. Let me know how you guys feel about Locke and Key as a whole. What's your favorite key? Who's your favorite character? Till next season, which will probably not be until 2023. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.